If you're the kind who loves hustling with Rolex watches, making a quick buck, you might want to hit the brakes right now. I'm about to reveal why flipping Rolexes, once the coolest hustle in town, is now going from a crazy high to a bit of a nosedive. Today, we're dishing out all the details about this era of super fancy watches, so stick around for the scoop you can't afford to miss. Watch till the end, and you'll catch Rolex flipping the script on the hidden stuff that's changing the game. You've probably heard of Rolex flipping, right? That's when folks grab those extra fancy Rolex watches, especially the rare or super in-demand ones, and then flip them quick for some serious cash. It's like turning a sleek timepiece into a money-making magic trick. Now, this whole game of buying and selling Rolex watches for a profit has been all the rage lately. However, things are shaking up real fast, and the whole Rolex flipping scene might not be as rock-solid as it once was. So let's break it down into 3 key points, shall we? For our first part, we'll rewind the clock and dig into the roots of how Rolex flipping kicked off and became this massive thing. Then we'll zoom in on the current market vibes. Spoiler alert, there's a lot of change going on that hints the flipping era might be taking a bow. But don't worry, we'll dig into the nitty-gritty factors causing this shift. And for the grand finale, we'll put on our fortune teller hats and wonder if flipping might make a comeback, but maybe in a whole new style. Plus, we'll ponder if flippers are throwing in the towel for good. So, you've probably caught wind of how the pandemic threw everything into a loop, especially when it comes to watch prices. You know, everyone is stuck at home, online shopping becoming the ultimate pastime. And guess what stole the spotlight? Luxury items, with Rolex watches leading the charge. Suddenly, there's this crazy surge in demand for these fancy timepieces. I mean, come on, Rolex is the epitome of luxury and top-notch craftsmanship. Having one is like flaunting your elite status, and some folks were so eager to flex that they were willing to drop more cash than the official price just to snag one as soon as possible. However, here's the lowdown. Even before the pandemic hit, getting your hands on a Rolex wasn't a walk in the park. Rolex plays it smart. They intentionally keep some models on the rarer side, creating this hype that's off the charts. Limited supply, high demand. You know the drill. And then things took a wild turn because Rolex had to hit the pause button on making watches for a bit to keep everyone safe from the virus. Apparently, that little break just cranked up the heat in the market even more. Now here's where it gets interesting. So you've heard of FOMO, right? That fear of missing out? Well, that's the secret sauce in this whole Rolex craze. Some buyers see Rolex watches as more than just a wrist accessory. They treat it like a money move. Certain models can turn into gold mines over time, especially if they become rare or super in demand. And then there's the internet, making it a breeze for watch flippers to connect with people worldwide. More eyeballs, more potential buyers, and you know what that means. More money bags. But let's dive even deeper into the rabbit hole. The real MVP here is the low interest rates. When the pandemic hit, big banks dropped interest rates to save the economy. Sounds like a noble move, right? Well, it had a domino effect, hitting markets left and right, including the fancy watch scene. Lower interest rates got people itching to spend, and boom, the demand for luxury watches skyrocketed. It's like a financial chain reaction, and Rolex is right in the middle of the whirlwind. Fast forward to today, the game is changing because interest rates are on the rise to tackle the crazy high prices of everything. This shift in the money game could shake up the fancy watch market and make buyers rethink how they splash their cash. While there's been some progress lately, there's still a ton of stuff to figure out to get things back on track. And of course, the prices of those luxury watches are feeling the heat too. You know that saying, what goes up must come down? Well, that's the mantra right now. However, there's more to this story. We've got to talk about the idea of price. Apparently, it's a big deal in how things roll, and understanding how price changes help us make sense of what's going on with flipping Rolexes. Keep this word in mind, arbitrage. It sounds fancy, but it's like the secret sauce to understanding what's been going on lately and in the past. Basically, it's all about making a bank from price differences. Think about snagging something for cheap in one spot, and then flipping it for more cash elsewhere. If you play your cards right, it's easy money with minimal risk. And you know what? This concept lines up perfectly with what went down during the pandemic. You see, Rolex watches were being sold in 2 different places, the official store and the resale market, However, they're essentially the same product. This opened up a golden opportunity for some sweet arbitrage action. When the pandemic hit, the price gaps between these markets were like flashing dollar signs, giving people a chance to cash in big time. Oh, and here's the twist. More folks jumped on the Rolex flipping train because of this. But with more players in the game comes more competition, and you guessed it, prices got a bit messy and the profit margins got tighter. So because of this golden chance to make easy money, everyone and their grandma wanted in on the action. Imagine this. You score a slick Rolex straight from the official store at the regular price. Later you think, why not flip this in the resale market where folks are dying to get their hands on one? So you sell it for more than what you paid, and bam, that extra cash is your sweet profit. As long as people keep going crazy for these watches in the resale game, it's like a no-brainer. On the other hand, some buyers are playing it safe now. They're not willing to drop crazy extra bucks above the regular price. They'd rather play it cool and grab their watches straight from the legit sellers. This whole game got people hyped up, waiting in line for their shot to buy. But then, out of nowhere, the Rolex prices started doing a nosedive. It seems like what used to be a pretty safe bet in flipping Rolex watches is suddenly playing hard to get. There's a chance you might end up in the red instead of raking in the green. This unexpected turn of events even has hardcore collectors hitting the brakes and rethinking their shopping sprees. Now here's where it gets a tad worrying. Rolex prices are on a fast slide, and this is happening even without a full-blown economic meltdown. The big worry is, if the economy does a nosedive, those prices might plummet even more, making people think twice about flipping Rolexes for the long haul. But as if the plot couldn't get any thicker, authorized dealers are stepping into the ring to put the brakes on flipping. These dealers, the gatekeepers of the Rolex realm, are tightening the screws on who gets their hands on these coveted timepieces. They're implementing stricter purchase policies, ensuring that watches are sold to genuine enthusiasts rather than opportunistic flippers looking for a quick buck. The era of snagging multiple Rolex watches in one go and flipping them for a hefty profit might be facing its sunset. This move by authorized dealers adds a new layer of complexity to the Rolex flipping game, making it clear that the days of easy scores might be numbered. All in all, the crystal ball for the market's future is all foggy, and folks who are eyeing the flipping game are treading extra cautiously. Time has done a number on the Rolex flipping scene. There are so many factors at play, from Rolex not cranking out as many watches to shifts in what people fancy, economic ups and downs, and even changes in how people do their shopping. Back in the day, flipping was like finding treasure, but now the game has flipped because of all these price roller coasters and the unpredictable vibe. It's got people double-checking before jumping into the flipping business, and it feels like the road ahead has hit a dead end. Now here's the burning question. Did any of these revelations about the changing dynamics of Rolex flipping catch you by surprise? Which aspect left you nodding in agreement or scratching your head in disbelief? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's keep this conversation rolling. But before you dash off to reflect on the Rolex flipping game, here's a friendly nudge. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the intricacies of the watch world, if the insights left you intrigued or enlightened, go ahead and hit that like button. And of course, if you haven't subscribed yet, now's the perfect time to become a part of the opulent Oasis community. We've got more horological adventures and fascinating insights coming your way. Until next time, stay curious, stay stylish, and may your watches always tick in perfect harmony.